Hello YouTube, it's Wadrace again, and today I kind of have a little bit of a rant to go on, I suppose, and I figure it's only fitting that I have a video going on in the background that is related to said rant. I've been trying to complete the Operation Narai for the last couple of days, since I've had a little bit of spare time, some stroke of luck, and well, let's just say it hasn't exactly been going very well. With exception of one match 2 days ago, I have not been able to get more than 3 stars with any team on Narai at all. In fact, today I haven't been able to get more than, well, more than 0 stars for any of the matches I've run in at all today. And it's kind of starting to drive me bonkers. The operation really has not changed up all that much relative to what it was when it was in the regular run before Wargaming decided it needed to be reworked. The only real change is that they've changed a couple of the ships that spawn, the number of them, and just the actual escape route of the aircraft carrier. Now, this in and of itself isn't exactly a big deal, except that when you consider that there's also the... well, when you consider the fact that there are also the transport ships that need to be gone after to the south end of the map, it does require that 2 ships kind of end up going off on their own after a certain point. Now, as long as the planning is solid, it can be done. I have gotten 1 5-star mission in the last couple of days of attempting to actually complete this. However, the simple fact comes back to that for whatever reason people either lose track of what they're doing, they get sidetracked and end up going off late, or for whatever reason I just seem to be ending up with teams that are just absolutely craptastic. They'll either start falling apart very quickly, or will get most of the way to the base, and then everything will just start falling apart then. And it's really kind of starting to grate on me, to be honest, because this is a very solid mission, and if everybody would just get their act together, it is still a very good mission for farming experience and credits, despite the changes that have been made. It hasn't been out of the rotation long enough for people to be that unfamiliar with it again, especially when, even if they are out of practice, 1 or 2 runs is more than enough to get back into the swing of it. So I don't know what's going on with players. It also doesn't seem to help much that the teams that I'm getting stuck with, for whatever reason, aside from a couple of occasions where I've gotten a Scharnhorst and the Gneisenau on the friendly team, and hell, I'll even take the occasional Lyon, because it's got a lot of guns to put out shells with. But when the majority of the battleships that are being placed into the match are Nagatos and Colorados, while they aren't exactly bad ships, mind you, they're not the best ships for this mission. And the entire matchmaker seems to be loaded with them for this operation. And that's actually one of the things that I have to mention in regards to the replay that I've got going on in the background here, because our one and only battleship is in fact a Colorado-class battleship. And his decisions a little bit later on in the match really go a long way in hurting us, and actually, I firmly believe, cost us the win, because he makes a decision that actually takes him out of the operation for quite a substantial amount of time. Now, for this run, I actually decided to go off after the transports instead of the aircraft carrier. In hindsight, I probably should have gone after the aircraft carrier and let the destroyer or one of the other cruisers go off after the transports, because it is actually one of our destroyers who decided to go after the aircraft carrier. And, well, that would not necessarily be a bad idea in theory. The simple fact that he doesn't account for the other ships that are running with the aircraft carrier, or he doesn't adjust for the fact that the aircraft carrier has escorts, basically renders any of his efforts useless. Now, the one thing I do want to say right off the bat is the one-player Sea Dragon in this match was a phenomenal destroyer. Everything that he did was very supportive, and he even survived to the end, almost to the end of the match, which doesn't happen very often for destroyers on this map, but that's another matter entirely. I do have to say I thank him for dropping the smoke screen in the middle of the map. It did prevent a lot of the airdrops for that section at least, and it just made things a little bit easier to manage. I did make a mistake in handling the Nicholas and took a torpedo, but beyond that, I mean, I'm still at least on task. Now, I do have to also say that Sea Dragon, I give him props again because he takes out both of the enemy battleships here, I believe, including the Missouri, before it can do any real damage to our actual fleet, which, again, that's a big deal because that is actually keeping us in the match for a fair chunk of time. But that being said, right around here is where things start falling apart, because the destroyer who said he was going to go after the CV, now down at E10, is going to very quickly run into an enemy destroyer and pay for it very dearly. And from that moment on, things just kind of start really going downhill due to the decisions of, one, our Helena, and two, our Colorado. But at least in the meantime, I'm not paying attention to any of that. I'm having fun tearing transport to shreds with the Atlanta. It's kind of like getting a bull into a china shop. Once it starts, there's really no stopping it. And if there's anything that Atlanta really loves doing, it's tearing up anything that is either lightly armored or has no armor to speak of. Now, I also make the decision here, and this is one of the other things too. A lot of the players, as soon as they go after the transport ships for whatever reason, they'll double back and try to come out around and join up with the rest of the fleet, which that technically isn't exactly a bad idea, but it actually doesn't do anything to put them where they're needed. Where they need to do is actually come in through this strait, and yeah, it does kind of put them out in harm's way, and it does isolate them a little bit, but it does give them a bird's eye view of the enemy destroyer and even a couple of smaller enemy cruisers that are lined up right inside the channel waiting to take out any of the transport ships that are coming around the main drag. So yeah, it is actually a big deal if somebody comes down this way and just wreaks havoc from inside this little harbor here. When somebody decides to turn and go back all the way up around to meet with the fleet, I've seen transports lost numerous times, even costing us a star objective to just meet up with the fleet, and it's not what they need to do. Their decisions really kind of suck in that regard, because that Campbelltown, as soon as it sees the transports, it drops torpedoes, and the torpedoes hit transports and it knocks them out of the running, and costs every single match that they fail to take out that Campbelltown, it costs the match a star. Now, here is where things really start going downhill again, and just kind of keep going downhill more and more and more. I've dealt with the destroyer, so we do get the transports through, but our Colorado, in the void created by the destroyer, has decided to go north, where he is now dealing with the Nicholas and the Phoenix that were escorting the aircraft carrier. Personally, especially considering I know we have one of our cruisers that's up in that area, the Helena, who is still well outside of base, though, yeah, I will admit he is way out of position even to deal with them. I would very much rather that the Colorado had decided to turn south and come into the harbor area, where he could deal with a lot of the ships that are now coming to defend the base, which, at the moment, are only really being handled by me, our New Orleans Tuna Can, and our Mayhem Sea Dragon. Sea Dragon certainly does a good job. Fortunately, the aircraft carrier ran aground, which makes our Colorado's efforts here even more worthless, to be perfectly honest. And it also prevents... It takes away cover that could have been used to keep Sea Dragon alive here, and it also gives only 2 targets with all of these enemy ships to shoot at, mainly me and New Orleans. Now, I do have to say that I messed up in a bit my own way here, in that I'm sitting in the repair circle broadside to all of these ships. But at the same time, I'm trying to get as much fire onto these ships as possible because there are only 2 of us at this point. The Helena is really only just coming around the corner, and he's under fire from the Phoenix that the Colorado has failed to do anything about. Things are just going from bad to worse, and it's right about here where, 1, I'm set on fire, and 2, I've got an Indianapolis that's looking at me. It says, oh, hey, this is a nice broadside Atlanta. It would be a pity if someone drove some AP shells right into the broadside. Wait for it. Wait for it. Yeah. Again, that was my own stupidity taking part. But, again, what was I supposed to do? I had no concealment. I had all kinds of ships shooting at me, the Helena, and the New Orleans, and just trying to put out as much damage as possible to try and take out as many ships as possible. And the repair dock really just doesn't do that phenomenal. Now, at this point, I'm finally able to actually start paying attention to the map again, and that's when I noticed our Colorado is way the hell off to the north instead of actually in the fight. He has an entire island in his way. He cannot shoot at anything. He has effectively been out of the match for, what, maybe 5 minutes at this point. Seriously, why didn't he just turn south and aid what was going on in this objective area, especially when it was obvious on the map to anybody who was paying attention at all that the aircraft carrier was grounded in the objective area where every single one of us who had a line of sight on it could shoot at it. Now, I do kind of understand a little bit where our New Orleans was coming from in some of his comments, though that being said, some of them were not exactly justified, I believe. I probably should have reported him for his inappropriate behavior, but oh well. You know what they say on that regard, hindsight's 20/20. I was more worried about the fact that the match was going to hell in a handbasket at this point. Oh, and by the way, that Colorado, yeah, he's only just now getting into a point where he can actually do anything. Unfortunately, it's way, way, way too late to help anybody. And he's trying to settle down our New Orleans, but again, I can't say I blame on New Orleans too much for any of his attitude or his language, because this match just, it was a pain in the butt. And it could have been different so easily. I mean, we completed all of the secondary objectives. We could have won this match if this Colorado had gone the way he was supposed to, instead of removing himself from the match. I mean, that's easily, you figure, 6 minutes, 5 minutes, that's 10, 12 salvos that could have very easily been put into enemy ships, especially a lot of these cruisers that just weren't there from these big guns because he went the wrong way. But anyway, that's basically where all of this rant is going. This operation is so easy to complete, so easy to do if everybody's just paying attention and doing what they're supposed to be doing. And it just seems like nobody's doing it. And on top of that, in a number of cases, again, I think they're just picking the wrong ships. I mean, even in Gneisenau, I would take over Colorado. This match really hurt me quite a bit because we were so close to winning it. And this Colorado, I swear, it was the Colorado who lost it for us. But anyway, I guess I should tie it off. Rant over. I will catch you all in my next video. Have a good one.